Fancy seeing you here, listener. It's New Meta Podcast, episode 88. I'm your host, Dan. Joining me, as always, oh my goodness, how are they so good at this game? Immortal Dota 2 players, Marco and Adam. Marco, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Are you doing well on this fine May week?
I'm doing fine on this May week, yeah. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, good to hear. How have your games been this week? How's Dota been for you?
I've been very positive, very positive. There's been a lot of green gaming, a lot of Ws. That's even included the ranked, which is refreshing. And in the party games, been slicing, dicing some PA. It's been fun. Had that monstrous Ricky.
Yes.
A couple of days ago. 58 out of 62 involvement, I think it was, in our 43-minute just slaughter fest. A wild game. They've been fun. Apart from like one bad one yesterday, it's all been really good fun, Dota. So yeah, pretty schnaz.
Wow, excellent to hear. Adam, likewise, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing? Can you match Marco's positivity about the state of defense of the Agents 2?
No, not usually. That's just in general, though. I'm even keel. I'm at about a good 6 out of 10 all the time. Marco goes 10 to 1 to 10 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes through the swings. So, but the games have been good. Still playing some 4 clinks. I ventured out into ranked Dota again. Played a ranked game. Immediately realized why I haven't been doing that. And then I played another one. With a day break. With a day break in between. But lose one, win one. Yeah. I won a game as Offlane Shadow Fiend. That was fun. I think that was in Marco's Ricky game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's pretty fun. Just blinking in and ulting with Shadow Fiend is actually quite effective. His ult with the Fear now is such a game-winning ultimate if you can get it off in a team fight, like in the middle, you know?
Yeah, it's a nice, like, just disruptive team fight ult. And then you were Coddle, so that's a good wombo combo. Suck people in, then fear them out, then suck them back in. And then that just lets Marco Ricky just hop around and get like 43 kills or something ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a fun game. Marco, 43 kills, 2 deaths. The Magic Tea Cottle, 1 kill, 11 deaths. Nice little scoreline there.
We had a good lane. That was good times. At first, I was Magic Tea Cottle. What's going on here? Give me Nick Day. But actually, it was a stellar performance.
Oh, I'm glad you think so. I did at the beginning of the game give you an over-under on whether or not I'd have 15 deaths, and it was firmly under.
Yeah.
11. Amazing. The enemy sniper had 13. The enemy Witch Doctor had 17. Oh, my goodness.
And only a couple of griefy blinding lights, too.
Yeah, there was definitely one, I remember.
Pushed him down to the low ground.
Yeah, that was a good one. Saved the enemy carry with the blinding light. I did manage to Clifford Witch Doctor in the lane. That was quite
cool.
That
was funny.
Yeah. Although I definitely got myself killed, not realising how low the cast range is. So does the cast range scale then on this hero? With levels? Or
I don't think so.
No, it's just a very low cast range spell, I guess. But I kept casting it, and then my hero would run in and die because I'd have to put myself in a weird position because it's such a low cooldown. But it's a nice spell to have.
Range talent, though, right?
I think I took the flicker. I can't remember what I took.
Yeah, I mean, usually you take the flicker, but he does have like an Aether Lens talent at 15.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want the extra flickers. For sure.
Is that the ultimate? Like more?
Yeah. You get 2 more. Yeah, 2 more flickers, and then at 20 you get 150 more AoE. On it.
Yep, that was the first support game that I'd played in a long time, looking at my Dota buff. Beyond that, I don't really have anything else in my games. The only highlight would be Marco saying on voice and in chat that he wanted to play PA next game, and then randoming Slark and forcing him to play something else. That's the only highlight of.
I felt bad.
Yeah. Beyond that, nothing much to report. I really, honestly, how can it be that it's lockdown coronavirus? I want to sink my teeth into some ranked Dota 2, and I feel like I never get the chance. There's actually too much stuff going on in like the world. There's like too much TV and like random activities planned and stuff. I don't know.
It's so grim. I honestly feel like I've had so many 4 stacks recently and just been like, where's our bro, the Magic T, to fill the 5? It's been proper sad.
Yeah. Oh, to be fair, tomorrow is maybe an option, but I need to edit this blinking podcast in the morning. But, other than that, I think I'm pretty free. But we'll see. The ranked needs to be hit.
Oh, yeah, because it's bank holiday. So, yeah, that's
indeed.
a rank sesh coming in then.
Yeah, you definitely would have thought so. On to the topic of the day then, I suppose, without any further delays. Quick mention for Rant Corner, or Rant Corner, or whatever. Or Flame Corner, sorry, to give it its proper name. We'll be doing that, don't worry about that. Flame Corner's here to stay, I think, because it's fun. But topic of the day is int heroes in different positions. Basically just talking about which intelligence heroes are good at certain roles and why, or indeed not good at certain roles and why. In terms of a place to start, I suppose start with the number one, the carry role, because this is the role you least often see an int hero in, maybe? Or maybe would you say offlane? I don't know.
There's probably fewer one position
definitely safe lane
int heroes, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, actually. Looking at these, yeah, that's for sure. Are there any in
I'm looking at like 3, maybe. 4, maybe.
I've got 2 in mind. But
Someone want to throw someone out there? Who do you think?
Nature's Prophet, I think, is a 1. Can be.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the most legitimate one in terms of one being a hard-hitting, hard carry kind of hero, because we know a Prophet with his talents, his farm capability can go monster.
Is that so? You're saying Prophet 1 because of the farm capability, then,
and the talents,
yeah,
and he just hits hard. I mean, you just think as a 1, typically you think physical damage, and I think he is the most legitimate out of all these. I think there's probably you could probably make a case for 5-ish heroes, but an actual legitimate one. I mean, Nature's Prophet always ends up with the most GPM anyways, because he just presses R. So
Adam always flames Prophet as some low skill hero, and it's actually quite hard. There's more to it than just pressing R.
He has the lots to him. He's equally brain dead and galaxy brain.
Yeah.
I mean, if you treant trap people or body block treants or, go the right item build, that's something. But, Wrath of Nature go burr. My gold goes up 500 and I push out all the lanes so no one else can farm anything. That's not high on the intelligence side of the hero, I guess.
Yeah. Pressing R isn't a big brain play, but
now pressing R on the correct side of the map and then it hits all the creeps and bounces through and you get a double kill or something. That's pretty good.
The worst feeling is when the bounce is literally one bounce short of hitting the target, and you're like, okay, if that bounce one more time, it's 500 damage at about 5 minutes into the game.
Let me rephrase that for all of the low MMR players out there like me. The worst feeling on Prophet is remembering that you haven't used your ult for 2 minutes. That's the worst feeling. Not seeing it not bounce or something.
Or the worst feeling is that he's on your team and you're just taking this fat stack jumbo camp and then just pew, 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 and you're just like, what?
Worst feeling is you've not used it for 2 minutes, but then you use it the moment all the creep waves die and it bounces to 2 targets and does nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, what? You're meant to actually look around the map before you use it?
Over contenders?
Well, go on.
So I'm thinking a situational one. Mickey does this. Storm Spirit. If you've got a Kotl 5 and you put the Storm in the safe lane, or even maybe a CM, someone that can just help the Storm use lots of mana, you actually kind of can pull off Storm in the safe lane. It's not a carry, so it's not really a conventional pos 1, but it's more just someone to sit in the safe lane and farm. You could say Storm. Void Spirit's another one maybe that you could justify being a 1, farming for a bit, get an item or 2, and then you're online.
Yeah, Storm Spirit 1's an interesting one. From a pub perspective, would you say that that's a...
That's a grief.
That's a grief.
Yeah, I do think you really need some synergy, i.e. Kotl, and Kotl only.
Yeah.
And
I thought we were going at it from a pub perspective. I wouldn't trust, my team to...
Yeah.
It's a little too handicapped if you need the coddle to go with it.
Yeah.
Do you need some tanky mid? Do you need like a DK mid or something to like make it work? The Storm Spirit 1, if you're going to pick it in a pub.
Yeah, I think with any int hero played in the safe lane as the farmer, they're never really going to be a true 1 unless you're Furion. In which case, yeah, you're going to come online in the mid game and look to end the game in the mid game. So yeah, you would need some. I mean, I guess your mid could be some harder farmer, and you're just the tempo player farming in the safe lane. But that seems a bit weird and bad. You probably are going to be some tempo lineup altogether.
Yeah, a couple of heroes that I'll throw out there that you see quite often. I think Necro. You can slap a Necro in the safe lane. You see that pretty often.
So the slap this hero in the safe lane, that'd be Leshrac, Necro, and like Pugna, right? That's your
slap this hero. I think Leshrac, sure. Like Lesh can be a carry.
If we go way back, TI3 era, Loda, Pugna.
That is weird.
Yeah. Maybe not. Pugna's more off lane utility than slap the Necro in the hard lane can solo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Lesh is an interesting one. Why is Lesh work as a carry because getting good gold on the hero lets you open up the mana pool and open up the tank ability so that Pulse Nova just does tons of damage. Is that the idea behind Lesh carry? Like you've got this unlimited,
and you push hard,
and you push hard.
Yeah, like he's split damage, right? He's physical because Edict is physical, and then he's got all this magic. So if he gets gold and gets tanky, you have this high, magic damage spikes early. He does all this magic damage, but then he still has the physical damage to push the towers.
And also the AoE aspect. Often you'll see Lesh is picked up in response to illusion heroes, a PL or a TB, say. Naga, yeah, that's a classic. And you see Miracle and Arteezy play Lesh from the safe lane because of the idea that, you get in from gold and the damage output a Lesh can do. It's pretty bonks, so it can be played as that carry, kind of, dealing all your damage, taking all your gold. But yeah, it's not every game that it would work, but I feel like in some where you need the push and also need the AoE magic damage, it'll do way, way better than, say, a conventional one. Like a Drow is just going to get shredded by a Naga, PL, illusion kind of lineup. So you look to that more magic AoE hero.
Yeah. Before we go on to some wacky honourable mentions, I want to ask, a hero like OD, what is it about OD that makes him unsuitable to be played as a carry? Because on the face of it, very high, I suppose, physical. I mean, it's pure damage, so it's even better than physical, really. A really high right-click hero. Farms okay with the Astral, not amazing, obviously. Why is it that OD isn't a position 1?
Levels.
Just he needs a lot
of XP, and then he doesn't provide a ton in a side lane. Like he's already got like no regen, and if 2 heroes go on him, he's like just food. Yeah, I feel like he needs the 1v1, or else the Astral, he just gets wrecked.
Astral is such a game-winning 1v1 lane spell. Like, if you're 1v1, you Astral them and deny or get CS. It's like, if that's disrupted because you're against 2 heroes and it's like you Astral one of them, the other one goes on you or just can contest the CS anyway, You can definitely see the hero's kit's like suited towards being in the 1v1. Also, he just doesn't farm as fast as other POS 1s. If you're really going to give him a safe lane so that he doesn't have as much levels, but maybe has a bit more gold, I suppose, than mid in an ideal world. He can't. He's not a hard snowbally farmer. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. He needs all the levels for Astral, and then needs all the levels for the orb. Before maybe not all the levels for the orb, but before he starts doing damage, and it's like, who do you pair with him to kill somebody in lane? Because he's going to plink for about 70 outside of Astral damage.
Yeah. Marco, you've got any honourable mentions for this carry ones? Any wacky ones you want to throw out before we move on to the next position?
I don't think there are any other legitimate safe lane.
I feel like we're not naming my number 2, behind
Visage,
behind Nature's.
We said Void Spirit, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to throw out well, I was going to say Visage, and if not Visage, the other one I had in mind was Silencer, but I know that's not your...
You could argue for Silencer, yeah. That is definitely legit.
Because he actually hits hard.
Yeah.
At all stages.
It's just like Dro Silencers, honestly. It's just this right clicker, range pepper with an orb attack.
Yeah, just skill the W level 1 and you're good. You're just like any other ranged hero trying to CS.
Yeah, that's a good shout. So you have Furion and Silencer, probably your most conventional safe lane carries who are int. And then you've got a bit more pseudo tempo farmers like Void Spirit. Maybe you shouldn't even say Storm. Maybe Lesh you could put in that category as well. Someone who's got magic damage they want to burst onto the scene with in the mid game. And then you've got just probably 60 grief heroes or 50 grief heroes.
What's the worst? What's the not worst int hero position one? Other than techies, let's take techies out.
I think techies could be fine.
Okay. Yeah, the hero's not that bad at the moment. But what do you say is the worst carry possible?
So when we say carry, are we saying we're building them as a right clicker, or just giving them infinite gold and saying who's the worst, even though they've got all that gold?
Well, you've got to take laning into account, but you're putting a hero in the safe lane with to farm and to build whatever items they want, but to farm in the
and then
laning
carry
stage,
you
and then...
with that gold in
yeah. Let's say carry you with the gold.
Okay. So
Coddle's pretty bad.
Yeah. I think Coddle's a good shout.
Because you're casting spells and you have to stand still, and no one skills illuminate anyways. So
yeah, Call's a great shout, honestly. The damage that hero provides is, like you say, purely illuminate, and it's so unfavored and slow and unreliable. Yeah,
I like that shout. I think we have a winner.
Imagine going Mask of Madness Coddle, and you pop your ulti, and then you just hit people.
Dezo is popping.
Yeah.
I guess you could go Atos.
Even then,
guarantee the
illuminate.
Just a full just a full wisp on somebody. Right?
You can guarantee half a wisp, like a 2-second lockdown for your 5-second channel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
Let's shuffle over to my favourite role. Wow. Mid, pos 2. The int heroes get interesting here because there are a lot of staples. Oh, wait, actually, before I forget, if anyone is interested in some Position 1 Dark Willow replays, just hit me up on Discord at the Magic Tea, and I'll be happy to provide you with some insane Dark Willow carry gameplay. Free of charge, obviously, as you are a listener. But anyway, pos 2, a lot to choose from.
You mean that role? That role that all the int heroes can be put in?
Yeah.
Almost?
Yeah.
It's more of an exercise in who couldn't go mid or who would be bad.
There's a lot that would be bad, to be fair. Quite a few, but I suppose, do you think there's much merit in suggesting the best ones? That's kind of just a discussion of the metagame.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Who's the strongest mid right now out of the int pool? Fairly interesting, I feel.
Lena, Marco, how does that make you feel?
Trash can.
Adam, do you have any thoughts? Do you have like a hero that you love to see mid at the moment?
I'm trying to think of who's the strongest hero mid from the int pool because I feel like it's not a lot of int heroes mid, and I don't know if I'm just not thinking about it or
Yeah. I mean,
like you slap a DK, you slap a Lycan or like an Ember, Medusa,
Visage.
yeah, I was thinking Visage.
I played with
it. You're saying the best right now?
Statistically, it's been the best for years.
Okay.
You've got to consider
it's a weird
pick
case.
Rate. Yeah, it's a weird
I'm saying
case.
within the meta game, like no pro stack is picking Visage mid.
Yeah, true.
It's strictly Russian pub boosters.
Yeah. How do we feel about Death Prophet? The hero was really, really strong a little while ago, and I feel like it's a little bit less strong now. Do you still look at DP as like a top tier mid hero at the moment?
That was honestly who I was going to name.
Okay.
At least like serviceable.
Yeah, 8.5% pick rate, 51.3% win rate in Divine Plus. So not the most incredible statistics, but DP never has incredible statistics. And I feel like it's a hero that's... I honestly think it's not as easy to play as it appears, which is why I think the numbers on the win rate is maybe a little bit, maybe like a percentage lower than its true... You know, if you're a DP player, you're going to be crushing with the hero quite nicely, I think.
Right, you got to take out all the people... Since no one just like actively picks Death Prophet, you got to take out all the people that lose when they random it from the win percentage, because there's not a lot of people that are like, I'm going to fancy me a Death Prophet game.
Yeah. Not a lot of people have it in the random pool, right? Isn't it like only your top 30, or is it the bottom
it's top
30?
75.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
Or I think they take out the bottom 25, I think. So it's like, was there 115 heroes, maybe your top 90 heroes or something?
Yeah.
All I know is I always random brood, so.
Yeah, I know that too, because I'm in those games.
Yeah, and it's solely, now it's like, I don't pick brood. It's the only reason it's in my top 90 is because I randomed it so much. So it's never going to like fall out.
Self-perpetuating, yeah. The most picked in hero in the mid-roll by a decent margin is Void Spirit.
Yep.
A hero that we used to have Void Spirit corner, so we have covered a lot. Marco, you're a Void Spirit player, and maybe to a lesser extent these days, but how do you feel about Void Spirit in the current meta from a mid perspective?
Yeah, so I'm lesser of a player these days because I only play the new heroes when they're nice and OP at the start, and they get slapped with nerfs for months on end, and eventually they're too weak for me to play. So, not touched Void Spirit in a while. I do think it's one of the top mids, and it's a hero I was going to say. Even though it's got all these nerfs, I think it's okay because it's simply transitioned into a more of a tempo control mid, as opposed to upon release, its inherent strength was just so
everything
big that you could just slice and dice, carry, tempo, roll any game. But now it's more, okay, you're not going to blow up any hero you want, so you've got to be more... It's like a puck. You couldn't blow 100-0 every hero with a puck. You could do that against not many heroes. You're more tempo, control, ganker. Void Spirit is just doing that now because it's weaker, but it can do it so well because of its skill set. I think it is one of the top mids because of that reason. I think it lanes pretty fine. It's melee, but it has great spells to secure last hits. It has escape. It has initiation. And then, its skill set is so great for these fights and pickoffs that teams love running it, love the synergy they can get with playing it. So I think as a mid right now, and I think the mid is quite tempo orientated. I know Adam mentions non-int heroes being flavor for the mid, but I do think it's very common that your mid is a tempo. If it's not TA, I think it's a tempo mid, and Void Spirit does that so well. And you see in the stats, I think it was like 20+% pick rate, 52% win rate. It's pretty solid for that high pick rate. So yeah. I think it's
classically mid's been the tempo role.
Yeah,
you know, your pucks, who I would say right now is Quap. That'd be my pick for top mid.
Yeah, I was going to mention that as well. I'm really happy to see Quap back. I think it's a really fun hero, and I think the pace change, and I think it's similar to Krob actually. The slower pace favors or goes in the favor of a Quap or a Krob when their ults are such long cooldown. they're way more suited. And in the last 2 patches, Quap's got slight buffs. I know there's an int gain buff, Sonic Wave damage bit of buff, the Q slow bit of buff. So she's been getting a bit of favour. And then now these games are taking a little bit longer, fights maybe a little bit less common. It suits her really well. And like Adam says, she's one of the most ultimate tempo mids, and lane's pretty fine. Yeah, it's just we're kind of back to more classic tempo mid heroes, and Quap's great at that. So I think
that Q spell,
65% slow.
Make it stop. Yeah. I'll give a shout out to a couple of my favourite heroes. Pugna, I think, is a fine mid. It's a very fun hero. I think it offers a lot in a pub setting because you can build it in different ways. You can, if you need to be tempo and build like defensively, build a glimmer, like that's fine to do coming out of mid, or you can go like Dagon if you want, if the game allows it. Has some options, a lot of defensive utility. Having a save is always great because they're underpicked in pubs. And I'm referring to Decrep as well as Life Train there. And then also OD, mentioned him before as a potential or carry, or why he doesn't work as carry. But as a mid, I think he's back. I think he's on the up. 2 buffs recently, I think, right? The Essence slow was increased and his ult calculation was increased, so his ult does more now. I think you can win with this hero in pubs, for sure. I don't know if the stats agree with me, but I think OD's on the up again, and that's a dangerous thing because the hero can get quite out of control, especially in the right hands. Okay, so the win rate's very bad, but I'm still going to give OD a shout out. He's always going to be there or thereabouts when you're talking about mid heroes.
Did either of you watch the Slacked Wind Ranger, Wind Runner video?
Yes.
No.
Did you, Stan? Okay.
No.
I did watch it today, and he spoke about why Wind Runner's the worst hero in Dota, and he went through why it's shit at different positions, and he spoke about the mid and said it was a trash mid. Do you agree, Adam?
I mean, I feel like the hero's underwhelming, for sure. I agree with his thesis that she's a jack of all trades, master of none, and that Dota, you're more inclined to pick a hero that's really good at one thing as opposed to everything, because all the heroes are so strong in their one thing. And that she, is largely based upon 2 skill shots. So if you don't ever land your Q or your W, like what's the point of picking her? But I think mid is where you would most want her to go.
Yep.
It's like 4 Wind Ranger is like a grief. And I'd say that having played it within the last month, it's awful. And 3 is a bit iffy. So it's like, if you're going to put her anywhere, she has to kind of go mid.
Yeah, I think the mid is where she needs to go for the levels and the goal to get that damage item, be it MKB or Maelstrom, and the XP for the spells. I liked his point about she's bad because you have to overextend if you ever want to realize your damage output. Like, you have to be stood there hitting someone for quite a while with focus shot if you're going to be getting any work done that isn't a power shot. And then even if you're going to make yourself able to do that, say if you're using your E aggressively, that's putting you at risk. Or you might have to get a blink to be able to just blink, shackle, and focus fire someone, so it's kind of expensive item to enable you to do that. I thought that was quite a cool point. Thinking about the laning, I don't know if you remember much Windrunner, Stan, but I feel like her laning can be a bit of a struggle sometimes. I know she's got a wind run for like projectile dodge and a W for nuking a creep, say, but if you don't hit a couple what they call power shots on the enemy hero, I feel like you're going to lose the trade war and then get crushed in the lane. So it's a bit edgy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think Wind Ranger's very strong at the moment. It's been stronger, it's been stronger as a mid, more pickable in the past, certainly. I mean, you could talk about the mid capabilities of all of these heroes, like you said. Perhaps now we should talk about the worst mid. Honourable mentions, I suppose, to heroes like Invoker, Tinker's always there, Zeus is always there. They're highly picked.
I think Storm's good also. I think he's similar to Void Spirit in terms of how good he is.
He's another one that's picked quite high. That's sort of, they're your classic heroes that you see, int heroes that you see mid. Adam, do you have thoughts on what the worst int hero would be mid? Is Kotl up there again?
Well, there is a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? There's an argument that getting level 6 on him is pretty good, because then you can be using the ult all over the place.
It's hard for your team to capitalize if you get a Kotl gets a quick 6.
Is it like Chen?
I think Chen mid's okay. I've seen it.
It's okay. We've seen tops prove that Techie's mid is good.
Yeah. I think maybe Grimstroke is kind of bad. Ogre's kind of bad. I mean, Ogre mid surely is just going to get crushed by like any hero.
Ogre mid's not... I've done that. I've seen Bulldog do that.
The thing is, like, all these heroes, I mean, they deal damage because of magic for the most part. So if they get early levels, they're going to deal a lot of damage. So they're all going to come out of the lane okay, I feel like. Except for Invoker.
Can you get work done with that XP advantage?
Yeah.
Enigma's okay if you want to cosplay as the old Lich. Lich mid might be the worst. New Lich might be bad.
Yeah, maybe. Certainly interesting to think about. What about Darkseer mid?
That's just kind of like a farmer mid, isn't it? You'll just farm the lane and the jungle.
Just a worse version of off lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I think Kotl's a good shout for the worst one.
Yeah.
A hero so designed in its kit that it's worst at any amount of farm priority.
Yeah, it's going to be the worst 3 as well, I think. Speaking of 3... Kicking us off talking about offlane int heroes. There are a few staples, I would say. There are a few staples you see in the offlane.
So who's that? None are jumping out?
Well, Batrider, Darkseer, Enigma, Ench, kind of. Certainly has been in the past. You see Prophet offlane's like a classic as well, I suppose.
I say Void Spirit is more of a 3-4 than it is a mid right now. But that's just
controversial.
From what I've seen. Wow. That's just from what I've seen.
NA pubs. Don't know what the meta is.
Or no, ahead of the meta. NA pubs driving the meta.
I haven't watched a lot of pro. I mean, are they picking Void Spirit 2 a lot?
Yeah, I think I see it quite a lot.
They pick it for like anything, honestly, other than 1. They pick all positions other than 1.
I feel like CIS teams play a lot of weird 4-3-5 Void Spirit, and I feel like EU teams more often put it in the mid.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think EU teams just pick it on a player, and then the lanes don't even matter. That's what I feel like anyway. They pick 3 cores, and it really could go anywhere. Like Secret and OG, they'll pick Enigma, Void Spirit, Bristle, and it doesn't matter. Like, who knows what positions they are? They're on a player, and then they're in a lane, and it's hard to say what's the 1, 2, or 3. Which doesn't bode well, given our topic is like specifically around certain positions. But there you are. Marco, do you have a favourite offlane int hero at the moment?
So I play I have played a chunk of offlane ranked games because that's what I'm always assigned, and I've not played an int hero. It'd always be strength. Thinking about those int offlaners, I don't even like Furion as a 3 offlaner because I want to just be safe and secure in a safe lane where I'm less at threat. Darkseer's a bit specialist. Enigma a bit specialist. Ench I've not played, but I know has been Omega strong as a 3 in the past. I don't really touch int heroes in the offlane.
Necro, I've seen you do Necro.
Necro, true. I quite like Necro 3 if you know you're going to get a steady lane that you can farm and just slowly dominate with. That's very nice. That is very nice. I can get behind that.
Adam, any additional 3s to throw out? I've seen you do a few. I've seen you do like a puck recently. I don't know if that was mid or offlane. I can't remember, but that's one that sometimes shows up as well.
Yeah, that's the I random this hero. Typically it's a mid, but I don't feel confident in my mid abilities, so I'll take an offlane build.
Adam has all the randoming experience for all these heroes. It's like, let me consider this hero. what happens when I random this hero? That's what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah. So Puck would be one of those. I mean, there's a time where Puck 3 becomes a thing in the meta every now and again.
True.
3 is a bit thin.
Yeah, so why is it thin?
Because historically, 3s and offlaners are tanky, and they're like teamfight initiators / havoc raisers, and amongst most of the int pool, they're really squishy. So they can't like initiate in the classic sense. Enigma's one, Batrider's one, but yeah, I mean,
it also comes back to the point.
3?
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. There's a lot of the reason that there's a thin pool of int 3s is that they don't need gold as much as an agi or strength hero would like, or it's not as value to give all that gold to your 3 Rubik, say, or your 3 Lena, because we just need them to use spells, and we don't really need them to get items and to get tanky and to get attributes, because like you say, often it's that 3 initiating or being a menace in the fight, putting the body on the line. That's what you kind of want. It's not going to be suited to your 3 unless it's some Darkseer to do that. So it's always probably feels a bit griefy if you're ever going to have some int hero on the 3 getting that farm priority, because at the end of the day they probably don't need it, or not need it, but they probably don't do as much with it as another hero could. Like if you had a Zeus going, I'm going to 3 and kind of try and get this farm, or your Rubik be like, I'm going to get this farm to get a quick blink. You're a bit eye roll. What's really the point?
And also, I think we've seen recently a trend away from super fast-paced killing and towards farming, and therefore putting, I think, 2 heroes in lanes is like a bit more important, which hurts these int heroes, because when I look at a hero like Darkseer or Ench, even Batrider to an extent, Enigma certainly, these are heroes that you can kind of solo, like you can kind of leave them alone. When they're big in the meta, it's like, yeah, you just slap a Darkseer solo off lane and then try lane. And that doesn't really seem like a thing at the moment. I don't really feel like, or at least these heroes aren't good enough to fulfill that. You never see a solo Enigma or like a Darkseer that's been left alone. You want to be aggressive in lanes and usually achieve that with a duo, I feel like. And strengthen agi heroes, but particularly strength heroes, is way more suited to that, I think, at the moment. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but at the very least, the heroes aren't that good at doing that at the moment, I would say.
Maybe another point I'm kind of thinking, maybe strength in particular as a 3 are a better bullies. So if you think about the 3, ideally you put a lot of pressure on the 1, you skip the tier 1 and pull the creeps and farm aggressively and push the tower as fast as you can. You're a bit of a bully, ideally. Maybe like you think about Centaur or some Timbersaw or Bristleback, Slardar, you want your 1s to be pretty tanky so that they can do all that bullying. They can put pressure on the enemy's farm and put pressure on the enemy's safe lane tower. I think you'll probably find it much harder to achieve that on your slow, squishy int hero.
Yeah, I'd tend to agree.
Yeah, something like that. Also, if I saw an Ogre 3, which used to be way too popular a pick, that makes me sad inside.
Around TI,
think of the gold. The gold, though.
Oh boy.
Triple Midas.
Yeah.
They'd rock up to a team fight at 25 minutes being like, guys, look how much gold I've got from a Midas, and just throw a fire blast, and then we just get wiped by their Omega farmed real cause. Because we've just had an AFK hero.
They didn't 4 times fire, fire blast.
Yeah, true. That's true.
But then you see late game Ogre, and he just solos the carry, and it's amazing.
I live to see that day. I still, whatever the term is, I have yet to see that day. Maybe I need to be treated to some good Ogre 3 gameplay. Marco, Zeus 3, or are we saving that for Flame Corner?
I'll save Zeus for the Flame Corner.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Zeus is on the sideburn for a bit.
They would just rather it be a 4, right? Which is where we're going anyways.
Smiley face.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. On to the 4s. Excellent segue, boys. That's why they pay you the big bucks. Kotal's not the worst 4 now. Now we're on to the supports. Int 4s, I think, is an interesting discussion because there's sort of, you can go very different ways with your 4. You can almost pick, say, like a Lion, a Shadow Shaman, a Lina, a Lesh even, all of these heroes that are basically squishy, high disable, but very, very vulnerable pos 4s. Or you can go for strength pos 4s that are very tanky and like in your face. I'm thinking like a Tusk.
Mate. Oh wait, are we not talking just int heroes? You're just talking.
Yeah, we are.
pos
But
4.
I'm just throwing out.
We're comparing and contrasting.
I'm just comparing it. Yeah. Or you can go down like the Tusk, whatever the hero Adam said. I can't remember. Earth Spirit.
Elder Titan.
Yeah, like ET
Doom,
heroes that are more in your face. Yeah. Which I think is like an interesting decision. So when you're picking an int core, Marco, this is me turning it back around. Always have faith in your host. When you're picking an int core, what are you getting in that trade-off? Like, what is the advantage of an int core? An int 4, not an int core.
Yeah, you put it well. The idea of disable, you are going to get much more control out of an int hero generally than you are a strength hero. Longer range lockdown, like just by virtue of cast range of spells, is going to be further away than a strength hero having to be next to you to actually get stuff done. Maybe more damage output off, or maybe burst is a better way to say it. If you've got a 4 magic burst, naturally you're going to find that, but not really find that in your strength guys. I do think this pos 4 is a really interesting one because there used to be a time, I feel, where the pos 4 as an int hero that could provide either lockdown to then make kills happen, or just simply burst you with damage and hurt you with damage. I feel like that used to be so much more prevalent than it is these days. I feel like these days we don't see it for some reason, and instead we see these meaty strength heads just butting fists against you like for ages. And I'm not sure why the int 4 has died off. I'm not sure.
Adam, any thoughts? The missing int 4? What's going on? Where's it gone? Do you think it's the strength of the heroes, or do you think it's like the meta game, state of the meta?
Just cyclical, probably. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think to my game. I mean, it's kind of just like defaults in a pub to your supports being int, unless.
Well, it defaults to your 4 being a pudge.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I feel like if someone doesn't really know what to pick for a support, they just pick an int hero. It's not like someone defaults to a Undying or a Tusk, and no one plays their Spirit. So they're like, all 4 Lina. I mean, 4 Lina was a big thing for a long time. 4 Enigma going Helm Dom was a big thing. 4 Rubik has eternally griefed my pubs.
Yeah, Skyrath Mage was huge for a while.
I feel like Sky was picked for phase every time for so long. I feel like Sky, Lina were always picked. What percent do you think it is now in terms of position 4s in your pubs? Do you think it's like 50-50? Or do you think it's more weighted to strength, or is it more weighted to int?
I think it's weighted away from int.
I feel like it's...
I say just away from int because there's Agi 4s. There's Bounty Hunter Marana and Nyx.
Nah, you're not those heroes. No, all those 4 heroes have about a 2% pick rate.
I think you see a lot of Snap Force. Well, it's a bit less now, but
I've personally seen Clinks in 80% of my games. So I don't know.
Bounty Hunter is about, to be fair, Marco. It's like that hero is...
Those Agi 4s, though, are way less common than all strength and int 4s. Totem definitely used to be the thing, and it is still...
It's back.
It's back a bit.
I just watched a Speed Gaming video about it being back.
It's back a bit. It's not at the level it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the percentages, Rubik is 20% pick rate in Divine Plus.
People just love Rubik.
People Rubik.
Yeah. Rubik's the real deal. Grimstroke, 16%. That is surprising. This here is a 5, though, right? Grim 4 feels bad to me.
It's a 5 in farm priority, but I mean, it can lane in the off lane. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah, I know what you mean. I always feel weird about that. I'm just wary of 2 pos 5s. Do you know what I mean? In a team, I'd almost rather my 4 was either. I don't mind it if it's going to be a Tusk where it literally has to just fly in and be aggressive to make stuff happen. I don't mind that. But if we don't have a hero like that, I want it to be a slightly more farm potential hero, like a hero that can be that support that transitions into a core. I'm always wary of the 2 int support trap. You know, you have a Lich 4 and you're here in the safe lanes like a Bane, like
Jakiro 4.
Yeah, so I just feel scared of that. I don't think
Grim does a lot with gold. A lot. It's just that he doesn't normally get it. He can farm it too because he pushes out waves forever.
Yeah, I think he's viable. He can farm it. What items do you think he would want to buy?
Aetherland's Hex. I mean, you just get double Hex. That's what... I mean, people go like Hex Rush if they're, really having a game. And in Pro Dota, I've seen that's where they go towards the late game, is to get a Hex because it's just so strong, the double Hex people.
I think another reason why Strength 4s are more favoured is that if you think about the items that you want your 4 to have, I think they're nearly always going to synergize better with a melee, tankier Strength hero. If you think about any kind of Urn, Pipe, Solar, just these utility items that a 4 could feasibly buy, I feel like want it on a Strength tankier 4. Yes, you could say a utility item like a 4 staff is great, but like a Glimmer is great. But I don't know, they don't seem as common on a 4. They seem just like, all right, the 5 will get it, so the 4 doesn't need to get it. All right, what's left for the 4 to get? These slightly more expensive utility items, perhaps. Yeah,
like in the current meta, there's a lot of value to saying, yes, we could get... Yeah, Vlad's, exactly. That's the example I was going to give. There's a lot of value in the current meta to just saying, build a Vlad's on our 4 because no one else wants to build it. 4
can also go... 4 Grimstroke can also do the Spirit Vessel, which is like a big thing you want from a 4.
That's true, yeah.
But yeah, you're not going to get a Vlad's on your Grimstroke. You are going to get on your 4 Vengeful Spirit, but as we said, that's not a thing.
Here's an interesting hero case study. Maybe the hero that's... Okay, not quite, but as a 4, the hero that's the most locked in as a 4, Dark Willow. This hero kind of only can be a 4, right? Would you say? And if so...
From what I've seen.
Yeah, and it's sort of not very good at the moment. Yeah, so it's just interesting. The hero lives and dies by how viable it is as specifically a POS 4. A lot of the other heroes don't have that. Feels bad to be a Dark Willow player at the moment, I suppose, then.
I think would you say it lives and dies as a 4 because its kit is so well suited for just constant ganking, constant aggression? Its ult is a relatively low cooldown, 60-second ult, I think. That means a Willow can just go from lane to lane, gank to gank, like int heroes couldn't. You couldn't be a Lion, really, or, I mean, Alina maybe you could, but most int heroes, maybe they've got 2 big ultimates, and not enough damage output, say, like, to match the Willow's damage output and the Willow's low cooldowns to justify them being a stronger 4 as the Willow. Perhaps, but then in the current meta, that playstyle of your 4 is not optimal or advisable, so we don't see a role for Willow these days.
I think it can't be a core because it's all spell damage and golden items don't really make it better. And it can't be a 5 because it's not a very strong laner for protecting a safe lane carry. And also it has no instant disable. So it kind of has to be a 4. I guess.
I just think she's so dependent on the rest of your lineup and like team play. I mean, she's got some epic combos, like Mars, and just I'm like a bunch of combos. But if you're focused on the hero only being able to like run up to somebody and bedlam them to death with your W, like that, you're just losing out on so much potential of the hero, and it's not doing as much.
Yeah. A hero that I used to trot out in the 4 role an awful lot with good success was Shadow Shaman. I really feel like it's fallen off though. You never see Shadow Shaman 4 anymore. In fact, you never really see the hero at all. Why? What happened to Shadow Shaman? I feel like we've had this discussion before, but I don't see why he's suddenly so bad. He still has very long cast range on Shackles once he gets his talent. So I just feel like he should still be very good. Strong laner too, still.
I think maybe part of it is, and this is an issue with Rasta, but also probably an issue of other 4 int heroes, is that they're not good enough at brawling. And when we say brawling, we mean these like 2-on-2, 3-on-3, even 4-on-4 skirmishes that are happening over quite a prolonged period. I feel like that gank potential of Shaman is arguably unmatched. That one-person hero pick-off, arguably unmatched. But people just throw bodies to every fight, at least 3 heroes every fight, and then fights can go on for quite a while, and you're just going to get beaten up, and you're not going to survive, and you're going to get nuked, and that weak nature of the int heroes doesn't help them in the brawls that are happening. Versus a strength hero, most strength hero who's a 4, it's going to be hard to bring them down. They're more likely going to get more sets of spells off. They're not as bothered about being in the fray. Like, they can tank it, they can get spells off twice. These int heroes, I don't know, maybe they're just too squishy to participate.
Like, with Shaman, right now, it's like you can't even get off your right clicks because you're really slow. And then if you shackle someone, you have to stand there.
Yeah.
Shackling. Like, you can't be hitting them while you're shackling. Because, I mean, you do hit for like 80 or something dumb at level 1, but you don't even get to do that, really. And then if anyone ever tries to go in, you just explode.
Yeah.
Like, it's too easy for any int hero to get exploded in these brawls.
Yeah, and also the ult's not really a brawly kind of spell. It's like a split pushy, single pick-off kind of spell. And I feel like it suits other metagames a little bit more. Having said that, this is a very fluid meta at the moment because we're still fresh off the back of some quite potentially drastic changes. So it's sort of a watch this space.
Yeah.
But certainly as far as we're aware, doesn't seem like it's a particularly favourable meta for Shaman based off the statistics more than anything.
Who would you say is the top 2 or top 3 int 4s in today's meta?
Int 4s, oof.
In Joker?
Is that a smiley face?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is a smiley face, yeah. I don't want to see it in Joker 4.
The Lena shout, I don't know if it's just because I'm a bit scarred from pubs, but I do feel like it's such a dominant laner with the cast range and the attack range. Makes it a really rough time to lane against.
Yeah.
To me, sounds like a good 4, honestly. But I know its win rate's not great, and I know it's not common for a pick, so... But then it's like you get an item on 4 Lena, you can do a lot of work from a large distance, so... I feel like Lena 4 is good, but it just isn't ever picked, really.
Oh, I see it a lot in my games, but it's just like if it's on your team, it doesn't do anything. If it's on the other team, it just wrecks you.
Yeah,
because she gets a Blightstone and then hits you from 700 range when you try and hit a creep, and then you just feel really sad. And then if they, pick any stun on the 3, it's just a double stun kill lane, easy, rinse and repeat.
Yeah. A 3 that, well, should I say my 2 cents for my favourites? A 4, I actually really like Void Spirit 4. It's one of my favourites to play, and I think it's really good as well. So I would say Void Spirit. Another one is Ogre. I honestly don't mind seeing an Ogre 4 in pubs. Like in my pubs, go and pick Ogre, it's fine, and just be like a fat, tanky hero that stands at the front and is tanky innately, doesn't necessarily need the gold, but is a relatively strong laner, buffs up your carry or damage-dealing hero with Bloodlust, provides an instant stun. That's enough for me to say, yeah, go for being a 4. I'm always happy to see an Ogre 4. So those would be my two, I would say, Void Spirit and Ogre.
I would say Winter Wyvern.
Yeah.
As in addition. That would be one of mine.
Yeah, you don't see the hero much anymore as a 4. At least I haven't particularly. Occasionally see it as a 5, but not too much as a 4.
A lot of damage, a lot of teamfight control.
Yeah, and how do you approach the Wyvern 4 as opposed to the 5? You just give yourself a bit... You press a Splinter Blast a little bit more and get like a Blink, like a 4-star Glimmer sort of thing.
You get a Orchid. I'm not even joking.
You rush
it.
Yeah,
it is. It's a thing.
I don't want to see my Wyvern go an Orchid, my Wyvern 4. Why? Tell me, why is it?
Because you have a damage talent at 10, and you can hit people while they're ulted. So you become you just destroy whoever you curse.
Yaps or Pros did this Wyvern 4, and it did appear in pubs a little bit. I think it's a bit too memey to say it's a legit pick, but it can work.
Yeah, and if you don't have that good of a game and you don't want to go the Orchid build, then yeah, you go Aetherland's Glimmer, Force, or Blink, normal stuff. But you try and get normal stuff anyways on the 5. So if you want to get a little bit of extra gold, I think you shoot for the stars.
Okay, fair enough.
My final shout out, Shadow Demon, I think is a very good 4. I think the damage output a Shadow Demon can do, getting a lot of the E stacks, Shadow Poison, is bonks. And then you've got your 4 able to offer defensive capability. That's very nice. It's got a bit of pseudo disable with its ult, basically locking someone down. It is decent lane presence just because of that E spam. I quite like Shadow Demon 4. Someone like Wyvern I don't like because I think it can just do everything it needs to as a 5, and I don't think it needs to have farm XP priority that much. Shadow Demon I feel like could do way more. Like I said, Lena I like, but seems to not be meta. I would agree with Stan though. Void Spirit, a top 2 pos 4 int hero.
Yeah, that's like a 4 that actually does something with gold. I feel like everyone else we're struggling with. Enigma 4, that's something. That's super greedy.
That's a very greedy.
If that's what you want from your 4, might as well pick the greediest of the greed, because otherwise we're just taking all these heroes that are pretty good and just shifting them over, And that's where it goes from like a laning matchup 4 versus like a gold priority 4. Because a lot of times that's just like a 5 shifted over to the off lane.
Yeah, that links to my final point of I think 4's weird and difficult because it's got this balancing act of what do you want from your 4, what kind of play style and value do you want your 4 to bring to the team? Like, do you need it to be a hard disable? Do you need it to be initiation? Do you need it to be damage? Do you need it to be defensive capability? If you think about items, like what kind of items do you want the 4 to be? What does it need to buy? Play style in the game? How do you want your 4 to play? I feel like it's a weird, kind of difficult role because it's gold and XP all intertwined with what the team needs and what the team's doing. Well, that cohesion is hard to kind of get right all the time. It's hard to find the right pick, the right play style with your team as the 4. I find it a bit tricky. I think someone like a Void Spirit, or in the days gone by, Potem say, you're like legit just always going to be solid 4s. But outside of, say, a small pool, I think it's kind of difficult to get really right.
But Potem's Agi.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to think of any.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Rubik is the mainstay 4, to be fair.
To me, that's because it's just such a popular, fun hero, as opposed to it being always a great consistent.
I mean, Yapsor does stuff with it with gold as a 4. I mean, that is a thing. Do I trust anyone in my pub setting as a 4 Rubik with any gold? No, because they always go Aetherlands first, and then they die.
Yeah. Here's a great hero to transition into POS 5. Dazzle. Do we prefer Dazzle 4 or Dazzle 5?
Good shout for.
4.
Okay, forget Dazzle then, because I want to segue to 5.
Well, also shout out Quap 4. I think that's fine. But...
Or the famous Come Dine With Me Quap 4.
Trademark.
Yeah. That's a deep episode. If any of the listeners wants to go and learn how to play Quap 4, scroll through the feed on iTunes or wherever you're listening. That's a deep podcast, the Quap 4. We deep dive into that one. Well, Adam deep dives for us.
Was that a full ep on 4 Quap?
No, I don't think a full ep, but like a chunk. Yeah, specifically. I think it was Funky Fours.
Okay.
I think it's episode 4. I literally think it's episode 4, Funky Fours. 4 Funky Fours for episode 4? Something like that? That sounds like something I'd do.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I remember when I tried to do Legion 5. That was...
Oh, I remember that.
Epic time. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5s, this is the bread and butter kind of ints, I suppose mid too, but certainly 5. Int dominates the 5 pool. I think, is that reasonable to say?
Yeah.
Why? Tell me. Why does int dominate the 5 pool?
Because they're spell dependent, not gold dependent. So
Right.
you have all the money to spend on, not couriers anymore. Not wards anymore.
Sentries.
Dust.
Yeah.
Smoke. And then defensive items to help your team.
Yeah. No one buys the tome, though. No, that hasn't happened in pubs. I wonder how many years it will be. Do you reckon 2 years before it trickles
the
down?
5 buys the tome for
where
another
the 5
person?
buys the... Yeah. When does that happen?
That's tough because I think in Pro Dota, a lot of 5s get the tome to catch up and have their ults at a relevant time.
Okay.
But in pubs, I don't know who gets the tome in pubs because I never get it. It's always gone.
Yeah, there's always some guy in the pub that's spam right-clicking on tome at like 9:58. There's always someone doing that. And if you're that person, stop it. Stop
Maybe
it.
they need it.
Get some help. Yeah, maybe they do need it. Maybe, well, I guess 1 in 5, they're the one that needs it the most, probably.
I don't know. Or they take it and then you're just sitting there as a 5 lion, just like, man, I could be level 6 right now. I could get this finger of death off, but I'm not going to get level 5 till 15 minutes because I can't go anywhere.
Our POS 3 axe has bought the tome instead. And
Yeah, he really needed level 9. That's what he...
Yeah. Marco, you're a person who's selfless enough to pick POS 5 when we play in party stacks. What's your favourite POS? What's your favourite in 5?
I thought this was legit. Where's the flame cover? I'm a POS 5 in the ranked gaming.
Yeah, to be fair, you are. Yeah.
No, it is true that 5 is my best role. But you're not fortunate enough to be graced with it, Stan.
Yeah, okay.
So what was the question, sorry?
What's your favorite 5?
I blinded you with flame, sorry.
Favorite 5, Wyvern. Easy.
Yeah, you think
Wyvern, just because I know I can get loads of work done and I can steal farm and get items. Not steal farm, I can find farm. I can make plays happen with
you can secure a lane. That's what that is. That's not stealing farm. That's you occupying a hard area and taking farm no one else would get.
It is, yeah. You got potential too. I like that. I'm not asked about just securing my farm for my carry. I want to get blood, so flying out Splinter Blast really aggressively. I like that potential.
Yeah, you're killing people, or like you're War of Attritioning people in lane with that spell, and then when your carry goes to the jungle, you're pushing out the wave so they can't take the safe lane tower, and you get all the XP and gold.
Sweet. Is Wyvern a strong enough laner to be a legit 5, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Giga long range, and you use the Q and attack from all these weird angles over the trees.
I have been in it was a Wyvern Drow lane, I think, against Slardar +1, and we got run down real bad, and that was really rough. But I think Drow's just it was the fault of Joe just being an absolutely dog useless creep.
Laner.
Yeah, I think most safe laners that you'll be with will have some kind of firepower to just like to fight with you and to clash with the off lane with you. And I think your W is one of the best damage output spells there is. And if you're hitting two heroes with it, and you're slowing them with it, and you're using it from really far away, you're pretty safe and you can do a lot of value.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kotl 5, one of the most popular heroes at the moment. It's gone from the worst 1 and 2 to arguably the best 5, would you say? You'd be sympathetic to someone saying Keeper is their favourite 5, or the best 5, rather?
No, I think it's top 3 for sure. Just like classically in the meta, and then if someone said that was their favorite, I think that's fine. Like, it's really good.
Yeah, it's well picked. The stats are good. 16% pick rate in Divine Plus. 51.1% win rate. That's fine for a hero that's picked that much.
Totally fine first picking that in every situation, and then if your teammate lane partner didn't pick anything that took advantage of your skill set, that's on them. That's not on you. Like, it's really strong.
I don't think there's a 5 whose ultimate can match the possible value a Kotl ult brings. So I know you could argue, oh, what about a Lion Finger of Death? Like, I can do half a hero's HP. But if you grab a 3-man Kotl ult, and then you're able to follow that up with your team synergy. Sorry, I don't know, I think I cut out.
Yeah,
you can follow that up with a Kotl ult, followed it up with stuns, you're securing 3 kills rather than securing half a kill with your Lion Finger of Death. Like, I think the fact that Kotl's ult is such a bonkers good teamfight ult that you don't need items to use makes it
very low investment.
Yeah.
The only hero that provides as big of a teamfight ult as a 5 isn't even an int hero. So
who would you say?
It's Phoenix.
Yeah,
it's Phoenix 5 is the same thing.
I mean, Warlock ult's pretty huge, to be fair.
It used to be Warlock. I mean, it used to be.
But it's not as good.
It's not as good anymore. But yeah, there was a time when he was the 5 because he just your safe laner lived forever because you just shadow word them, and then Fatal Bonds was a lot more broken than it is now, I think. And then the ult was just insane, and it was long range, and all you had to do was pick this super boring hero, and then you just had this great rock.
Yeah. On Keeper of the Light, also, I think the heroes, it's actually easier to play than you think. It used to have the reputation with the old Keeper where it had a lot of like really complicated stuff, like its ult before Will-O-Wisp. It was really weird. It was turned you into some super keeper in the daytime or something weird like that. Or I can't remember what was going on there. But
so you would go into like you would turn white. I don't know if you would go into spirit form or what, and then you would get blinding light when you went into spirit form, and you could channel, like you'd lay a spirit that would channel your illuminate for you, so you could be walking around. Then you could drag people across the map too. Like you had the bring a hero to you ability during your ult, and then your Ags made it permanent spirit form in the day. No, it's like just permanent spirit form, and then in the daytime you got like flying vision,
and it healed, right?
And it healed, and now it's just it heals.
Man, GH Kotl at TI7, that was the real deal. That was good to watch. Yeah. But now the hero is so easy to play. The hero is really easy to play now.
It's like it's kind of like the IO thing, where it's like really hard in pubs to coordinate relocate. Keeper in pubs is really hard to coordinate how broken it was to bring someone along the map with you during the, and now they just threw that on Chen. So now Keeper's like really easy to play.
Yeah.
You're just like, I just channel all my chakra mana into my core because chakra magic costs 0 mana to use, and then I just drop this huge team fight ult, and every now and again I blinding light someone, and I just give them 70% miss chance at level 1.
Yeah, it's an excellent hero for sure. 2 heroes,
and you're 335 move speed without boots. Or maybe 330, but you're like fast.
You're rapid, yeah. The heroes are rapid for sure. There are some heroes that are like nailed on POS 5 heroes, Witch Doctor and Disruptor, I think particularly, are just always relatively highly picked, relatively effective. I think Witch Doctor's coming into the meta quite strongly at the moment, which is good to see because I feel like he's been missing for quite a long time, and the hero's quite fun. The other hero that I mentioned, can't remember what it was now.
Disruptor. I think Disruptor had a period of 4.
It was like gold farming period.
Maybe like 4 months, 4 months ago, maybe?
Yeah.
3 months ago?
It was the GPM talent plus Philosopher's Stone into Ags.
Yeah, it was like Yule's Ags.
Yeah.
Because you just Yule someone and they'd fall down into a Doom. And like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was bonkers, actually. Yeah, I remember that.
But no more GPM talents, so...
Yeah, no more Ags for Disruptor. Yeah. Didn't he have XP talent that got him to the GPM talent or something like that? Am I making that up?
Yeah. I think the 20 talent was at 180 GPM or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And he might have had a 10 talent. Now he's got a good 10 talent of 20 magic resist, but it's not the same. Like, it's nowhere near.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes him a little more tanky. It's not like, 180 GPM is insane.
Yeah. Let me throw out a couple of heroes that I have mixed feelings about, because you see them a lot, but I actually think they're bad. I think Lion as a 5 is bad.
Hate it.
Yeah, I hate it. And also, when you see a hero like Silencer 5, it's not as bad, but I really don't like it either. What is it about Lion 5 that's just bad? Just laning?
Because, yeah, I mean, he's like so it's very greedy, and it doesn't get punished as much as it should, because every time the lion shows his face, he should die. That's how, like, of a piece of tissue paper he is.
Yeah, he's one of the squishiest heroes in the game for sure.
And then he really doesn't come online till 6. You could say 12, but because the ult is so long cooldown at level 6. And then really you want to have your Earth Spike and Hex have a decent amount of levels in them for them to really be locking people down. And then to mitigate the fact that you're a piece of tissue paper, you need a blink or glimmer or something. Yeah, but you do get 2 stuns in lane, but it's just like such a feel bad when I see that. It's like, I feel like Lion is the core person's vision of what a 5 is.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't get mid? Okay, I'll pick Lion 5. And and it's like, why have I died so many times? Gosh, it's so much harder to get at Ags on this hero. That type of stuff.
No, I agree with that. That determination, I definitely think, is a core player's idea of 5. It's like, I'll still do damage and blow heroes up. I just won't farm. I'll just do it with my level 6 Finger of Death instead. That's like the notion. And I provide a stun. But yeah, especially Marco mentioned earlier that some of these int heroes aren't well suited to brawling. I think Lion's one of those heroes that isn't well suited to brawling, because you can't brawl because you literally have 0 survivability. So
like 550 health or something, and very little armor. Yeah, and not relatively fast either.
Yeah.
Go on the Lion, Hex as a spell. Hex is a strong spell, but you don't have the mana for it in the early game, and also in the early game, you do need damage. Hex is a really strong spell later in the game when your team's able to do damage and right-click and kill heroes, or prevent them using BKB. But in the early game, if you Hex a target, it's really it's not that impressive.
And then Earth Spike does like 80 damage or something. It's just there for the AoE aspect, like, the big ravages. Not so much a damage spell.
Yeah.
So if you're Lion, you want it at 4 because you want some meaty strength hero standing in front of you where they're able to like do the harass, and you're able to just kind of line up impales to enable them to dominate the lane, and maybe just some stun blow perhaps. When in the safe lane, defensively you can't really offer much for the carry. You can't really offer much defensive save. You're pretty shit like right click trader. You're just gonna get squished by the enemy off lane, so can't really do much great supporting.
Yeah. Also, it's weird to fit in as well. It's like, if you play as a 5, you're laning with your safe laner, eventually your safe laner goes off to jungle or something, well, you can't just sit in the lane clearing creep, because 1, you can't clear creep, and 2, you've got 600 HP. So you have to sort of leave and try and link up with the rest of your team, which sometimes won't happen in pubs anyway. Even if it does, it's like, well, you're going to link up with your mid, and you've got now likely 2 squishy int heroes. The mid doesn't really want to initiate, and the Lion certainly doesn't, because if either of them do, like, they're going to die, so suddenly you need like a pos 3, or a that's able to get stuck in. It's just like a bit iffy. It's just a bit more difficult, because you have less options because of the hero's kit. You're not like a Wyvern that can get involved, can brawl, can sit in a lane, can farm. You just have no options. It's like, as a 5, you just sort of are forced into forcing things with your 3 and your 4 and maybe your mid too. So you just have less options, I think, when you play as a 5.
Yeah. Also, if you think about Impale, it is a pretty short cast range. If you want to get Impale off, you've got to commit yourself to the situation. That's why Blink is so necessary, to get yourself in the position to use Impale, really. It's not like a lot of other support heroes which can provide control or even damage from further distance, safer distance. So yeah, it's really not got the assets you want on a 5.
And you were saying Impale's low cast range, Hex is even lower.
Yeah.
So
and then your third spell's Mana Drain, like, ooh, what would he do?
But you need to put a lot of points in to cast the other spells anyways early.
I'll whittle the hero down to just a finger merchant, and it's just what you want from any hero, so don't pick Lion.
Just time for Flame Corner, I believe.
Did we even say good 5s that we liked?
To be honest, there's going to be a lot of 5s.
Or just say, like, when we say we don't have to go into depth, like, what ones do you like to play or you like to see right now?
I like to play Jakiro and Disruptor and Wyvern, like I said. I like Disruptor because the control you can do is immense. The glimpse back plays, kinetic field, defensively or offensively. The ult, you can catch people out amazingly. So often you're not going to die because of all these spells, but often you can get kills and plays because of it and add to team fights. That's fantastic. So that's Disruptor. And then Jakiro, I've always had a warm place for Jakiro in my heart. I think it is just a strong lane, and that's why it's so good. And then Ice Path later in the game. Even E attack slow later in the game, lots of value. So I think Jakiro 5, first pick it, is a fantastic first pick. Same with Disruptor.
Jakiro is what I won my ranked game with.
Wow.
So that's like traditionally not been one of my support heroes for some reason. Just did not like line up with how I was playing, but I really like it now. It's very strong. Level 1 Dual Breath is like one of the best level 1 spells, and then the late game Ice Path is just so obnoxious. And then you have Tower Push and Utility, and then Macro Pyre is really good too for denying space.
Take a moment to think about all of Jakiro's kit and all those positives, and then think about using Impale and Mana Drain on your Lion Pos 5.
And then also that you're like 800 HP level 1 with Jakiro versus 500.
Yeah, 27 base strength for Jakiro. Pretty strong. One of the highest. Only topped by Batrider. Okay, interesting. I would say,
or sorry, I was going to, it's like, we could go on forever about like 5s we like, especially me, since that's all I play. You know, like Lich and Crystal Maiden, that's been about mentioned in pretty much every episode, I feel like. Although they're kind of falling off. I feel like now, if I was to play ranked and spam, I'd probably try and figure out Coddle. I know how to do it, but not in a ranked sense. I would learn that. Jakiro, and then AA does a lot. I always have a soft spot for Bane, but sometimes it feels like that you need a little bit more from your team. And then Shan, honestly, is really good. But that one's tough.
Yep. I would definitely join in with your Jakiro hype. It's one of my favourites to play for sure. And then a hero that I don't play, but I I'm never going to complain seeing this hero as a 5. We haven't mentioned it yet. Oracle. I'd really like Oracle.
Yeah.
If you can play it, you can have an exceptionally high impact with this hero for sure. It's a little bit complex, and it's definitely somewhat of a high ceiling. It's not insanely. I mean, they're all point and click spells, but understanding.
I think it's a super high ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have defensive utility on every spell.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Like
you're right. You're right.
Purge a teammate. I think the one that gets slept on is the W, mostly because people can't name what it's called, and then also the fact that you can use it defensively, like 2 different ways. You can use it offensively, defensively by disarming enemy hero, or you can make your teammate magic immune.
Yeah.
So there's
I like Oracle.
And also you snipe all the kills in lane. You snipe every single one with your E. Like that's huge.
These the purifying frames, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The names of them are weird. Yeah. Those would be my picks. Flame Corner then, hotly requested by all of the listeners. They're dying to hear this. Marco, I think you were keen to lead this one again. I can't guarantee you the spot every time, but certainly I know you're ready to explode about our thunderous god hero, Mr.
Calm.
Zeus.
I'm calm. Inside, I'm not calm when I see this.
I'm calm.
Zeus in the position 4 has to be one of the most disgraceful, atrocious. What's that Art of Rat videos? A heinous act of any human to pick Zeus and go, I'm going to play pos 4 this game. I mean, let's think about.
I thought you were mad about it being pos 3. You're saying it was pos 4?
It's better pos 3.
Yeah.
I
would say that.
I think the worst is pos 4. What does Zeus do? So it's actually like the most one-dimensional heroes. It's just damage, right? He's got nothing but damage and a mini stun and global damage potential.
Yeah.
Full stop. Nothing. There's no depth to this hero but that.
His right click is a bit. It's like decent. God. It's better than what it used to be.
It's better than what it used to be. It's now not total garbage. It's just nearly total garbage.
Right.
Wait for it. Wait for it. He's got some cool lines.
He's got the Mario taunt. The coin taunt. Very cool.
So then, when you think about what a pos 4 hero could potentially bring to the game, so you think about ideas of initiation, control, disable, utility, defensive, spells, or escape, or what else might you have? Farm potential, if you're some greedy 4. And we think about all these attributes that you might want your 4 to bring to the table, and then you go and look at Zeus and just what's it meant to do? It's meant to give vision, true sight for like 2 seconds. I've heard some people argue, oh, it's great. You get true sight from the lightning bolt. You should buy a fucking sentry or dust. If you want damage, look towards anyone else on the team, but you're like pos 4 Zeus, which outputs pretty shitty damage. Like the reason it's good is because you can do a lot of AoE, because your ult hits everyone and you can be global about it. Like it's only good if you've got an Ags, really, Zeus, and if you've got the mana to pump out spells constantly. Pos 4, that's never going to be the case.
No, that's what the role is for the pos 4, is to spend 20 minutes farming an Ags.
That is the only thing you can do that isn't just completely moronic, and even that is just one of the worst games anyone could ever kind of play. What kind of game is your 4 if it's, I'm going to farm Ags in 20 minutes? You can't even farm because you're a Zeus. You're like 200 movement speed as well. You're so squishy, so easy to die. You go to a lane, you use a Thunderbolt on someone, and then what? The hero...
You wait 8 seconds to do it again.
Couldn't provide less. You couldn't try harder to be more useless in a game.
Is it that much worse than Skywrath Mage?
Oh, okay.
Oh, so much worse than Skywrath.
I beg you to play 2 games. One where there's a 4 Skywrath on the enemy team, and one where there's a 4 Zeus on the enemy team. You'll lose the first game in 20 because you'd 0-10 to the Skywrath, just slaying you and the whole team. Think about Skywrath and Atos.
It's got silence too.
It's got and a silence.
And a slow.
And a slow. Oh, yeah. think about all these great things like to have in your toolkit.
Like a 2,000 range slow from Fog.
They just keep coming, and then you pivot and go, let's list Zeus's attributes, and you go, he's got a 0.5 second mini stun and a global damage.
To be fair, the mini stun does deal like 400 damage, but
Vision, True Sight.
Yeah, the vision thing's so bad as well. Just you don't need a Zeus to give you True Sight. I don't even the damage thing. I feel is underwhelming. Also, I feel like the 4. I feel like
you need the levels for it to deal damage.
Yeah, very true. You need the levels and you need the bloody Ags. You're not positioned to get that in the 4. That's why I think 3 is slightly better, because you could justify the farm to get there faster, and then the mid is just the same idea. But as a 4, like, it's honestly one of the biggest griefs. Honestly, one of the biggest griefs. It's like my Rubik of Adam. If I see a 4 use, I am just so dismayed.
Does anyone know what static field does? I mean, I know what it does literally, but it's one of the most bizarrely... I find it so difficult to gauge when it's having effect. I just don't know what's going on.
What it got changed to now is that so they lose like... It's like HP loss or whatever. Max HP loss.
Not max HP.
Or like percent HP loss of their pool. And now it only applies to the heroes you hit with your spell. Used to be an AoE around you. So you would like press Q on a creep and everyone in the AoE would lose it. But now it's only on the heroes that you hit. It might even be target.
Yeah. But it's still shit. I read it yesterday. Level 4 is something like 12% of the current HP is lost.
That's right.
And I guess late
it's pretty good.
That could be pretty good if you have like late. 2k HP, 10%, it's 100 extra damage.
It is magical. It's magical damage though, so it's deceptive. You know, it's not like it's pure or HP removal.
But at the end of the day, it's just a bit more damage to your nukes, and 12% of someone's current HP. Yeah, it sounds nice, and it kind of is nice, but I'm not blown away. The hero does nothing but damage, and that is just so one-dimensional. Dota heroes are so complex and diverse and bring so many different things. Like you listed Skywrath kind of, and all those attributes are so amazing and useful, and then you go to Zeus and go, I can do some damage.
And not even more damage in the Skywrath, really. It's just like the same amount of damage.
There's a reason that this hero's only ever been seen as a pos 4 in the pro scene, when Secret play it, who are known to be one of the most complex, in-depth, master drafting teams ever to grace the earth. So do not think that Yapsor playing it once in a blue moon can justify it being picked up in a pub, because it can't.
Well, there you go, listeners. There you go. That's Flame Corner for Zeus ticked off. Don't ever, if we ever get in-houses going finally, make sure you don't pick pos 4 Zeus, or Taco will be disconnecting promptly. So there you go. That's episode 88. Join us again soon. And until then, final whistle as always.